Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this podcast on World Health Day. And since it is World Health Day, we're going to talk about health. And my topic will be, are you as healthy as can be? Yeah. So, as I was saying, today is World Health Day. And this year, the uh, the topic every year World Health Organization chooses a topic for World Health Day, and this year it is our planet, our health. Obviously, this is focusing on climate change, and because we must have all heard that um, if we do not reduce uh, the way the climate is going, or the greenhouse emissions, if we do not reduce it by 2025, it will be too late. So that is why the global warnings on the climate change and conferences going on. So because the climate change also affects our health, WHO has chosen this logo, our planet, our health. But what I'm going to tell you is, uh, I'm going to take this and take it to a personal level of our own health. Why our health is also affected, and why we are so sick, and why things have gone wrong. So I'll be sharing a couple of slides, and so this is what the theme of the World Health Organization logo of World Health this year. Our planet, our health. And what I have felt is that our earth, our planet, is billions of years old. 4.5 billion years old. And for millions of years, many kind of living beings have come and gone, like the dinosaurs. They were on this earth for 165 million years. We can't even imagine. And then the apes came. It was the planet of the apes, and they also survived for millions of years. And human beings are very recent entrants. We have descended from apes about 5 million years ago. It started, and other than human beings, never has this climate change been a problem. So today it is the human beings who have brought this planet to the brink of extinction. That is what my feeling is. And there is uh, a very famous saying by a Ukrainian geneticist, that nothing in biology makes sense unless seen in the light of evolution. So let us have a look at evolution of human beings. Like once upon a time we were apes. That was 5 million years ago. We used to live in trees, and we used to eat fruits and leaves. But thanks to changes in the planet, like the ice ages, which took away the grasslands, took away the trees, the apes had to come down and become from quadrupeds, they became bipeds. And slowly they started evolving into the Homo species, which is the Homo erectus, and then the Homo sapiens. But gradually, what happened around 75,000 years ago, there was something known as the cognitive revolution, or the cognition. Some like up to this stage, human beings were insignificant creatures. They were just like any other animals on earth, and they did not have the power to change their environment or to cause any kind of climate change. But something happened that these Homo sapiens, they developed intelligence. Part of it is related to the hunting gathering lifestyle they had, because they learned to hunt by the time they learn to develop tools, they learn to hunt, and that hunting and gathering, so more of hunting, kind of increase their brain size because of the meat and the fat that they hunted and ate. That is related, that period coincides with the increase in brain size. And after that, the ability of chasing animals, that was possibly the last change that occurred in human beings. That was 180,000 years ago. And after that also, we continued uh, till the discovery of agriculture 12,000 years ago. Mind you, just before the degree of discovery of agriculture, the these humans, they were known as Cro-Magnons, and perhaps they were the healthiest of human beings known, because they used to be nearly 7 feet tall. Their brain size was 1700 grams. Our brain size today is less than 1500. Our brain size has shrunk since the discovery of agriculture. Historians and anthropologists will tell you that some of them say that perhaps the discovery of agriculture was the biggest mistake as far as the health of human beings are concerned. Now, look at what has happened to the human beings today. Um, this is due to many factors. First, there was the development of the modern floor, then the industrial agriculture, then chemical manipulation of food, and globalization of food, and the processing and the fast food that has kind of changed, or rather completely changed the kind of food that we eat and the kind of food that we are suited to. We are suited to one particular food. Our genes are the same, but we are giving it, we are feeding our body with a completely processed food, and that is one of the reasons that today we are so sick. So worldwide, actually, we are now struggling with diseases that were once very rare, and in most cases now we are losing the fight. Diseases like diabetes, like heart disease, like cancer was not so common even 50 or 60 years back. But now it has become a household word. Household word. Almost every household has these diseases, which are known as non-communicable diseases. So, in this context, my question today is: how can you be as healthy as possible, or are you as healthy as can be? And if not, how can you achieve it? So, if you look at the data from data from Center of Science and Environment, which is the government data, they tell you first of all that lifestyle diseases are the biggest killer in India today. So over 61% of deaths in our country are attributable to this lifestyle or non-communicable diseases. Every 12th, we are the diabetic capital of the world, by the way, and every seventh Indian is a pre-diabetic. The overfat prevalence in Indian adults is more than 80%. If you want to know what overfat is, you have to go back to my previous webinar. Basically, obesity, which appears to be obese, one kind of obesity, and Indians are sometimes very lean and thin, but they have a fat around the middle of the belly. That is also included in overfat. So if we combine the two, more than 80% of the people are obese, overfat, and that is very, very unphysiological and very unhealthy. Cancer is going up by the day. Indians are dropping dead of heart disease. Every day you in the newspaper you see, and that to young Indians for no reason at all, they drop dead of heart attacks. And food allergies are going up by geometrical scale. So all these things, actually, the data says that we are undergoing an epidemiological transformation, and India is a double burden of diseases. We have both the diseases of the poor, like which we were suffering from, TB to cholera, but we are also have the diseases of the rich. So these lifestyle diseases are the number one killers, It is repeatedly being emphasized. So, actually, we have a looming health crisis on our hands. So, we must understand why did this happen and where have we gone wrong. To understand that, and if you look at the criteria for metabolic health, like illustrated in this paper, waist circumference, blood pressure, cholesterol, HDL cholesterol, triglycerides, and glucose. And this study was done in the US, and they found that only 12% of the population is metabolically healthy. And if I'm sure, if you do a similar study in our country, it will have more than 90% of the people will be metabolically unhealthy. In fact, the story is that for the first time in history of our species, we have a generation today whose lifespan will be lesser than the previous one. So that is what the tragedy is. That is how far we have come. Now, if I ask you the question that which of the following is the major cause of lifestyle disease? So I'm not taking a poll, but just asking whether it is physical inactivity, whether it is smoking, alcohol, or whether it is poor diet. So many people think that because the modern day people, they don't exercise and they smoke and they drink, that is why the health is so bad. But if you look at the data, it is the poor diet, a bad nutrition, which contributes the maximum, much combined more than the tobacco, alcohol, and physical activity combined together. So that is responsible. But what is surprising is if poor diet is so important a contributor to metabolic diseases, this is never a subject in the curriculum of training of doctors. So no wonder that, and not only that it is so in our country, it is there all over the world. We hardly have any classes or books or chapters devoted to nutrition as cause or therapeutic measure for diseases that we are coming across today. In fact, the medical profession uh, actually looks down on people who will suggest that diseases can be treated by nutrition. So that has become that we just believe in medicines. We know some symptoms, we believe in medicines, and we do pattern recognition and pills therapy. That is the problem. So what has actually gone wrong, I just was asking you, is that food is species specific. That we have to understand that whatever species of living creatures have lived on this earth billions of years, they have eaten a particular type of food and survived naturally. You don't have to tell any creature, any animal what to eat. They know what to eat, and they hunt it and they get it. It is only human beings who have been able to manipulate the environment and to eat what they want to. So it actually has gone against our evolution as a species. We have a stone age body. Our bodies are still belong to the Paleolithic age, but we are giving it a space age diet. And this is what has caused a problem. And this has also led to a lot of misconceptions. So what are the misconceptions? So these are the things which you will hear, and these are all wrong. That you need to eat 6 times per day, that all calories are the same. These the cola companies will tell you to lose weight you must eat less and exercise more. You must have heard this so many times, that eggs and meat are harmful, they'll kill you, and that saturated fat will clog your arteries. If you eat more fat, it will go to your heart and it will cause damage. You must have heard that grains are heart healthy, they have been marketed as so. And you must have also heard that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Nothing could be further than the truth. And also, you must have heard that fasting is nothing but starvation. People are so scared of fasting, despite of the fact that we have been fasting for times immemorial. And ketogenic diets will kill you. There is a very misconception amongst medical professionals that ketogenic diets are harmful without even understanding what ketones are and how much beneficial they are to our body. So these are the misconceptions. If I'm not going into the details, each of these misconceptions can take a full webinar. So maybe we can do that later. But let's have a look at the nutrients that we normally eat. They are divided into macronutrients and they are divided into micronutrients. So macronutrients are fat, protein, and carbohydrates, and micronutrients are vitamins and minerals. So we'll focus on the macros only because I believe that if you take care of your macros, the micros will take care of themselves. So out of these three macronutrients, you must have heard that there are essential amino acids, which the amino acids are chemicals which build up your muscle. You need essential. Why is it essential? Because your body cannot manufacture these amino acids. There are about 9 of them. So you have to take them from outside. There are essential fatty acids which you have to take from outside because your body cannot manufacture it and you need it. But surprisingly, there are no essential carbohydrates. This is there in medical textbooks, literature, and guideline. IOM is Institute of Medicine guidelines, the very big body of guidelines in USA, and they have written it. It is a known fact that the lower limit of dietary carbohydrate compatible with life appears to be apparently zero. Zero. That means we don't need any to eat any carbohydrates. So, but then you will ask me that what about the brain? You have been told so many times that we need glucose for the brain, glucose for certain red blood cells to function. Yes, some very little amount of glucose is needed. How much? For example, to maintain your blood sugar at normal levels of 100 milligrams deciliter, you need only 4.5 to 5 grams, that is 1 teaspoonful only. And mind you, that 1 teaspoonful can be easily manufactured in your body, in your liver. So we really don't need to take glucose from sugar or carbohydrates to survive. You can easily survive, and it has been observed in many populations, as you can see in the slide. So if you have a look at these three macronutrients, it is the carbohydrate on the left side which shoots up the blood sugar and the insulin, which is the dotted line. Protein has a kind of intermediate effect, but fat does not have any effect or hardly any effect on your sugar and the insulin level. So why am I telling you is because that suppose you eat suppose you are not yet a diabetic, you are a normal person, and you eat when you get up in the morning, you eat breakfast, and most of our breakfasts are heavily loaded with carbohydrates, whether it's a sandwich or whether it's a cornflakes cereal or whether it is puri sabji or chapati or upma or whatever. So, and that causes a glucose spike. So this leads to a large glucose spike followed by a large insulin spike. And you know what insulin does? It blocks your fat breakdown, it blocks your fat burning, and it stimulates fat storage. So this is what happens. So and then what happens after some time, the glucose there is a your levels crash, and this triggers hunger for more carbohydrates, and then you keep on eating, and by you have breakfast at 8 o'clock, and by 10:30, 11, you uh, feel very hungry again. So look, let's see what happens to the insulin levels. So your insulin levels, you have breakfast, it goes up, comes down again. Again, you have a snack, again it goes up. Again, lunch, snack, supper. So what happens is your insulin levels never settle down, and because it never settles down, your body can never tap into the fat as a fuel, which I explained last time. So what happens? is that it leads to this chronically raised insulin levels are the real culprit. This leads to you eat all these carbohydrates, and that leads to release of more insulin, and insulin becomes resistant. Excess of any presence of any chemical, it will lead to, just like antibiotic resistance, it will lead to insulin resistance. And because of insulin resistance, what happens is that there is, the body will not release the fat, it will store the excess of glucose as body fat. And it is also a state of chronic inflammation in your body. This will lead to dyslipidemia, hypertension, and all the other metabolic diseases which I was talking about: diabetes, cardiovascular disease, arthritis, cancer, Alzheimer. So it is not the fat that we eat; it is the insulin resistance due to excess of processed carbohydrates, I would say. So, and more studies are establishing this fact that all these metabolic disorders, all these lifestyle diseases, including cancer, cardiac diseases, GI diseases, endocrine diseases, nervous system, sorry, and all these have one thing in common, and that is insulin resistance. So it is a kind of a unifying theory of chronic disease. That is what is becoming clear with more and more studies. Now, what happens is what we in mainstream medicine do is that we take heart disease, diabetes, PCOS, fatty liver, sarcopenia, osteoarthritis, all these are different diseases, and we give medicines for each of them separately. And any person who's having, nowadays it is very common to have more than one metabolic diseases, and we'll end up eating a lot of medications, because each of these diseases you get different medicines. So you go to, maybe you consult different specialists for each of them, and each of them give add on to your number of medications. So what happens, you'll end up with a bunch of pills. But what we really miss is the elephant in the room which no one sees, that is insulin resistance. So if one understands this, this is my main message today on World Health Day, that insulin resistance is the core, is the elephant in the room, is the cause behind all these metabolic diseases. So this needs to be addressed, and this is what we are not doing. So normally what we do, we give one pill, and after that we give more pills. So pills may manage to control the parameters, but the disease gets further. I will give you an example with diabetes. What happens is, you are diagnosed, your blood sugar is high, and you're diagnosed at type 2, which is the most common. So the doctor starts with one or two medicines, and after some time, that doesn't, it's not enough. Blood sugar starts climbing up, so doctor adds two more medicines, and then after some time insulin, and after that they say it's a chronic progressive disease, and you have to just bear it, or until end organ complication develops. So basically, over the years, to keep your blood sugar at a particular level, you need more and more medicines, and similar to other diseases. So what happens, the disease is getting worse, it is not improving, neither it is getting cured. So because you need more medicines to maintain those parameters, your disease is getting worse. So that is what is happening. So this thing is just not working. So what I would like you to remember is that the process of healing every major disease, from cancer to diabetes to heart disease, has at its core the same basic approach. We must optimize your diet to improve your insulin sensitivity and bring down your insulin resistance. And not only that, your variability in lifespan is regulated by insulin. Now, the problem lies here. This is the truth, but the truth is not a pleasant one, because the approach is not through medicines. So because the approach is not through medicines, maybe it is not very profitable. Hence, you will not find it being propagated as much as it should be. So uh, your health is basically, once you know this, why your health is in your hands to understand that insulin resistance underlies the real, that is the real cause of your metabolic disorder, and you must tune your diet accordingly, understanding the figures that I showed you, that what triggers of sugar in your blood levels, and what how you can reduce it. So are you insulin resistant? So if you look at these questions and have a quick read through them, that do you constantly crave sugary and starchy food? Do you have fat around your belly? That can be easily measured. You And there is an index for that also, waist height ratio. If your waist in inches, and you divide your waist in inches by, and divide that by your height in inches, if the ratio is less than zero point 0.5, you are okay. If you is more than zero point 0.5, you have belly fat. So third one, have you been frustrated by failed attempts to lose weight with a low fat diet? Because the low fat diet never helps to lose weight. Do you have high blood sugar or high blood pressure? Do you have high triglycerides? Do you have a fatty liver? Do you have patches of dark colored skin? Do you have gout? Or do you have a family member who has insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes? Or do you have a family member who have had gestational diabetes or polycystic ovarian syndrome? So if you have any of these, it is very likely that you have insulin resistance and hyperinsulinemia. So and why does this has gone undiagnosed, or why we have not focused on this, or doctors do not focus on this, is because insulin, we think of insulin only when we think of diabetes, and it is a medicine to be given, that's all. So that is why, but actually the fact is that diabetes type 2 is not a disease of blood sugar, it is a disease of hyperinsulinemia. So but we have taken a glucose centric view to diabetes, and that is why insulin is the role of insulin has not been focused. But and moreover, blood glucose is very easy to measure than insulin, because insulin is a hormone assay, and insulin resistance is not necessarily a hyperglycemic state. That is why we tend to ignore it. So what happens is, suppose you are a young person, not yet developed type 2 diabetes, your blood sugar when it tested will come normal. But since no one tests insulin, your insulin might be sky high by that time. So if somebody had tested then when you are say 20 years old, then maybe uh, you could have the knowledge that yes, my insulin is high and I must do something about it. But instead, what happened? This condition that insulin is sky high but sugar is normal, this continues for years, sometimes decades. At the age of 30, also same picture. 40, also same picture. Maybe at the age of 45 or 50, what happens is this: your sugar levels also climbs up. So if sugar levels climbs up, you are now, because we are so focused on measuring the sugar, now we are detected as the diabetes, and insanely enough, you give more insulin to bring that sugar level down. Your already insulin levels are so high, but what we do, we give insulin. We try to kick the pancreas to secrete more insulin by giving drugs. So the entire approach is absolutely insane. But that is what is happening. So, and you must remember that type 2 diabetes is a nutritional disorder, and pills cannot be the answer. So I'll give you just one example. So yeah, one I cannot cannot not mention how it is related to the COVID-19 pandemic. So how does insulin resistance and associated comorbidities affect your health? You must have seen that you know it is the comorbidities. You must have heard that The people who were had more comorbidities were the worst affected. So one particular comorbidity which was an independent risk factor was obesity, and perhaps you don't know that the receptor through which the COVID-19 virus was entering the lungs was ACE2 receptor, and that is present 10 times more in the fat cells. So if you are obese or if you are over fat, lean and thin with a belly fat, which so many people are, so the once the virus goes into that fat, it just flares up. So the cytokine storm is very vicious. So I would say my take is that the real pandemic is that of the deranged metabolic health. It is not the virus. It is how your body reacts to it is what made the difference. You must have heard of Louis Pasteur, who propagated the germ theory on which the entire modern medicine is based. That there is a germ and we have to kill the germ, and so we try to cure metabolic diseases with that. There is a problem and we'll give a pill. Even Louis Pasteur admitted on his deathbed that he was wrong. He said the germ is nothing, the terrain is everything. The terrain means your body, your own immune health. That is the most important thing. If that is good, no virus can touch you, no metabolic disease can touch you. So how to attain that? So is there any hope? So yes, there is hope that it is possible to be healthy and be active and to be free of lifestyle diseases. Not only that, your body is actually designed to be healthy, and we are equipped with powerful healing mechanisms that will self correct most health problems if you provide it with the conditions it requires. All you need to do is that to get out of the way. We only are standing in the way because of our, wrong eating is one of them, because of what we have been told or what we believe, of our habits, of our prejudices, whatever. There might be many reasons. But if you look at the science, because body is science, and it it behaves as to what it has evolved for millions of years. You cannot fool it, and only that will heal you. So what is the way to do it? You have to start by understanding the fact that medicine is not healthcare. Medicine is sick care. Food is healthcare. That has to be remembered. So what to do? Eat real food. If you want it in 3 words, eat real food means whatever is made in nature, not what is man-made and what comes out of packets. Should that is always has a deleterious effect. Insulin resistance can be reversed, and you have to remember that it is driven by the type of food you eat. So you should always keep this in mind. Whenever you eat something, you must ask yourself, is this going to spike up my blood sugar? Is this going to spike up my insulin? So sugar is not always looks like sugar. It is disguised. All processed food, all starchy food are like biscuits and cookies and sandwiches and cereals, and they are all sugar. They all this even green leafy vegetables, they are the good carbohydrates. They are less harmful, but at the end of the day they break down into sugar, into glucose. So what to eat? This is the kind of natural food we should eat. What is given by nature to you? Something like this, what you can see in the picture. Another tips I would like to give you, fact I would like to tell you, vegetable oils, they are absolute poisons. They have been marketed as heart healthy, but these are, mind you, there is nothing vegetable about vegetable oils. They are extracts from seeds which cannot be eaten, which are inedible otherwise and not meant for human beings. These are, like sunflower oils, like cottonseed oils. These seeds are heated to 1200 degrees centigrade, processed, deodorized, and chemicals are added, then colors are added to make it look like this. So when you eat them, when you cook in them, they are highly inflammatory to the body, and scientific evidence now shows that they are direct cause of metabolic disorders. They directly cause insulin resistance. They are even carcinogenic. So seed oils are absolutely poison. Your cooking media, if you ask me now, should be what our grandfathers or people before that used to eat. They are the natural fats like ghee, like coconut oil, or a few cold pressed seed oil, not the highly processed oils which you see in the picture, and they are highly inflammatory. So, what are the other things you should not eat? All of these. If you look at the lower half of the picture, your bread, your noodles, your white rice, potatoes, all these are nothing but sugar. And the upper half, what you see is very, very obvious. So this will give you more and more cravings, and that will lead to hyperinsulinemia and insulin resistance. Alcohol is also a big no-no. Don't hate me for saying this, but alcohol is not only a direct liver poison, but it delays the metabolism of other foods, because the liver recognizes alcohol as a poison and tries to metabolize that first, and it completely disrupts your digestion. So that is why, and some alcohols are pure liquid carbohydrates. So once again, alcohol is a no. So what you must realize that if you want to improve your health, you have to change your lifestyle. You have to change the way you eat. And but most people, they line up for pills and surgery. Okay, doctor, I will, give me some medicines. I will let me enjoy some good food. And what they mean by good food is, we mean by good food is usually sugary, creamy, all the stuff that we should not be eating. So, but there are no shortcuts. Let me tell you my story. Once upon a time, I was also very, affected by metabolic problems, and uh, then I realized that what modern medicine offers, is not going to help me in the long run. So I did my own research and managed to, turn around my own health and transform it. And this is how I am today. So what were my benefits? That I lost a lot of weight. Yes, I was very heavy. Uh, I used to have bronchial asthma. I used to have pre-diabetes, which got normalized. I used to have hypertension. I used to have knee joint pains. Orthopedic people told me early arthritis and all that. Uh, Nothing, it's all gone. Hyperacidity, GERD is gastroesophageal reflux, which people have. I lost 10 inches around my waist, even more. That's how I'm maintaining. And more than all these things, uh, the energy levels, it becomes much better than before. And I have no midday fatigue. And another very big benefit you get is complete freedom from food. I mean, the hunger doesn't bother you throughout the day. Even if I eat just once a day, which I do, it is not, I don't feel hungry. In fact, I feel more energetic. So what really happens is that when you correct your insulin resistance, your body metabolism normalizes. So once your body metabolism normalizes, everything falls into place. All your metabolic diseases, they kind of go away and normalizes. And it is, mind you, a very powerful hormonal intervention that you do by, you know, eating food which addresses your insulin resistance. That is why you kind of, you can reverse it and you can come out of your problems. So these have been my realizations. I call this my decade of healing. My realization is that actually we have not evolved to grow old and become progressively sick as we age. Our bodies are fantastic healing machines. We have the potential to stay healthy as long as we live. We all have a lifespan, and we also have a health span. And ideally, our lifespan and health span should be the same. We should not spend the last 1 or 2 decades of our life suffering from all these problems, diabetes, hypertension, even more, and getting serious disease, getting bedridden. All these things should not is our bodies are not meant for that. Our bodies are meant to be healthy till the day we live, and that is how we should try to improve our health upon. And it is possible, but it is not possible by medications. It is possible by prevention and possible by understanding the real cause, which I have been telling you about. And the real cause is once again this: all the diseases have one thing in common, and that is my message today on World Health Day. So, a disclaimer before I leave is that these webinars are only for informational purpose. What I'm sharing here is designed to help you to make informed decisions about your health. But I can assure you, whatever I have told you, each and every sentence is based on proper medical publication. I have not, these are not my opinion, but there are proper medical publications which ascertain the fact that insulin resistance is the cause of all metabolic disorder. So, but the disclaimer is that what I tell you today, please do not do anything on your own. So, this is not a substitute for professional medical advice. You must consult and work with your doctor. Take this information, and hopefully, your doctor will listen to you. And that is why I am on this platform today, so that I can reach as many people and as many medical professionals as I can to make them aware of this changing paradigm in the understanding of the non-communicable diseases. So thank you very much for listening to me. So these are my social media handles, and this is not the end. This is only the beginning of the conversation. So you can ask me questions now, or you can connect with me on my Facebook group or Facebook and Twitter, and I'll answer your questions. Thank you very much.